Dubai is, by the way, paved with gold. But the gold is not on top of the pavement. The gold is underneath. You've got to dig.
Welcome to the Real Estate of Mind podcast with your host, Michael Loyal, and myself, Ronald Tucker. We both are property consultants giving you weekly insights into everything that is real estate in Dubai.
Today we have an industry leader with us. This gentleman has over 40 years experience in the field of real estate. He has worked with the top brokerages in Dubai and is currently the director of sales at Axe Capital Real Estate, leading Sales Team 1, which myself and Ronak are a part of. He is a charismatic and driven gentleman with an unparalleled level of knowledge on the real estate market in Dubai, UAE real estate law, and the future of Dubai itself. It's our pleasure today to speak with Mario Volpi. Welcome to the podcast, Mario.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, Ronak.
As usual, our first question to you is, Mario, when and why did you come to Dubai?
Oh, okay. Well, I came to Dubai in August of 2008. Well, actually, that's when I first started my journey. But I came to Dubai in the May. The reason I came to Dubai at the time was to get interviews and to see whether I could actually come and live here. And that reason was because I saw a recession coming in the UK. I was doing okay. I'd been at that moment in time 26 odd years in real estate at that time in London, but I could see some changes. I'd already been through several recessions over there in the UK. You can do it once every 7-8 years. You can set your clock by it, kind of thing. So I could see there were some issues. I actually tried to leave and go to Spain to start off with, but my boss at the time didn't accept my resignation. So I had to stay. I had a great year that year, actually. But then when the bug was there, the bug was always there. So it ate away at me. And my wife's cousins were in a band in Dubai. They would do the scenes, the hotel scenes, and they were telling me what it was all about. So I came then in the May to have a look on my own, attend some interviews, got offered 3 positions, came back to London, resigned, got my wife to pack her bag. She'd never been to Dubai before, and when we landed, it was her first time here. And our journey started 6th of August, 2008.
There's 2 interesting points there.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have a similar story to a lot of people,
Yeah.
which is you came here kind of thinking you'll check it out, but essentially it was a vacation, right? Like,
Well, it's funny because actually I've tried to leave Dubai several times because the honeymoon period, listen, we're in real estate, we're doing extremely well at the moment, but real estate is a tough industry, and of course there are times when you're not doing so well. I mean, I remember as an agent, because I've been here as an agent as well, where you get to the 20th of the month, you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, where's my next deal coming from? You got rent to pay. And somehow, as long as you believe in yourself and you believe in what you're doing and you do things well, somehow something happens and you're able then to get over the line. But it's not always been bed of roses. So, would I describe it as a holiday? Probably not. I mean, I've never worked so hard in all my life. And especially Axe Capital is a tough gig.
It is.
It is. So I'm sure you're testimony to that.
Yeah.
100%. And interestingly enough, you actually left during the last global crash, you might as well say, 2008, 2009. Like, I came out of school at that time, and it was just...
Thanks, Michael.
Honestly, again, he's 32, so work out with
Yeah, right.
But no, that's very interesting. So, like, you said you tried to leave Dubai a couple of times. Do you mean, you've kind of fell out of love with Dubai and you wanted to try other things? Or?
Yeah, no, listen, I started real estate, I remember it to this day. It was the 1st of October, 1984. So actually next year will be 40 years that I've been in real estate. And I don't think I'll ever fall out of love with the industry. I still get a buzz when either I or my team do deals. I live it with you guys. And, the congratulations that we put on the messages, are heartfelt. So It's not that. It's just that, Dubai has... It's evolving all the time, as we know, but it has. There's been some hardships, of course. Just because you're a director of a real estate company, it doesn't mean necessarily you're rolling in it. You might be doing well today, but like I said, I've been an agent as well, on no salary, commission only. So I feel, or I have felt, what you guys feel. In fact, probably I would say even worse, because I was an agent in 2009 when the market had crashed. I started here as a manager, but quickly, we had to survive. We had to do things but it wasn't that period. It was other periods when, sometimes people don't do as they should do. And I'm talking about the public. You lead people you lead the horse to water, but it doesn't necessarily drink. Where you think you have a cast iron deal and then nothing happens, the buyer ghosts you. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't necessarily blame Dubai, but sometimes you have a lifespan, yeah? I mean, I came here thinking it was only going to be 2-3 years, something like that. I didn't expect 15 years later to still be here. So yes, I've potentially tried to leave, obviously not very hard because I'm still here. But I do know that my next chapter probably will be in Spain. I've actually got a job waiting for me. It's been waiting for me for 2 or 3 years, in fact, longer than that. But now that I've opened a new chapter at Axe Capital, it probably has erased a lot. So, my focus now is everything with the job in hand.
Spain's a really good market as well. A couple of my friends have short-term properties over there. It's a very hot market. And then obviously being in the EU as well, you're a little bit closer to home base, But I think you're dead right, It's a very cutthroat industry as such. And you kind of need to work, you kind of need to rely on your own self-motivation, your own beliefs and dreams and work ethic. And to be honest, like the one thing I've noticed from being in this industry is like the importance of good leadership, right? Because again, if you're behind, if the leader is lacking or they don't know what they're talking about, or, it just doesn't really drive confidence and that winning attitude. So coming to Axe Capital has really changed the game for myself and Ronick.
It's absolutely
so
right.
And obviously, it's been a pleasure to work under you, so don't go to Spain.
But actually, you touched on something there that, and thank you for your kind words. Let's wait and see what happens when we have our first argument or disagreement, No, I'm joking. Leadership. You talking about leadership is very important, because there are bosses who think they're leaders, but they're not. My style of management is that I would never ask you to do something that I'm not prepared to do myself or haven't done. That's the first thing. And leading by example and having, as I say, done maybe what you're going through right now. Doesn't mean I have all the answers, for sure not. But if I've walked that path, I may have a suggestion and I may have a solution for you. It may not work. And I often say to people, what works today doesn't necessarily work tomorrow. But as long as you try different things. But just going on to what I really wanted to say, leadership, UAE has a fantastic leadership.
It's out of this world, isn't it?
And whilst it's nice for you to talk about maybe myself or whoever, at Axe, that's fine. The fact that the government here, the federal government, Sheikh Mohammed himself, obviously for Dubai, is a visionary. And I hope that, his reign is very, very long. But, one day, maybe Sheikh Hamdan, may take over and he will hopefully follow in his father's footsteps, because they've started something. They've really started something here. And even 15 years is a long time in Dubai, but in the 15 years, I can see so many changes. And if you do go away for a period of time and come back, you're baffled by even just buildings, the state of the development of the city. So leadership is super important.
No, you hit the nail on the head, and you're exactly right. Yeah, because the safety, the infrastructure, just what they've done. Like everybody in the world knows, like the level of advanced, progress in Dubai, and it's down to Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, right? And then obviously Prince Hamdan will take the reins someday, and the vision is obvious, and I think we all owe everything that we have in this country to their vision,
Exactly.
But Mario, jumping into the market itself, so two things that we've seen grow exponentially in the last few years. One is kind of trust in the market, right? Trust was wavering a little bit there in the last few years. Let's say some off-plan horror stories and stuff like that, which again, the ruler was very quick to address. Now we have a developer must sell 60% of their project before they can launch another one. There's no oversupply, and then escrow accounts and all of that kind of stuff. So trust has grown and demand has grown a lot. like Q1 of this year, prices are up 23-25%. So I guess my question to you is, a lot of people that are kind of the mind, oh, it's, you know, it's not sustainable, it's just this, it's just that, the prices will come back down, I'll wait. Are they being a little bit naive with the amount of expats that are flowing into the country now, and with the 2033 plan for more expats coming? Are we in the midst of a boom? We know markets cycle all the time, but is Dubai experiencing, are we on the beginning of an uptrend now, in your opinion?
Well, look, like anything, what goes up has to come down. You cannot continue along the trajectory that we are on. So obviously, everything I'm about to say, there is that element of caution added to it. But you've got to look at the fundamentals. The reason why, at the moment, the real estate boom, for want of a better word, I don't like to use those words, but certainly the pace that it's running at, is it sustainable? I'm not so sure it is sustainable, so we will need a period of pause as well. But it's simple supply and demand. Because the federal government, Sheikh Mohammed himself, and all the leaders have done such a good job in, if you like, promoting Dubai on the world stage, is that the eyes of the world are on Dubai. Now, of course, I've been here when there were difficulties, the financial crash, the Arab Spring, and all the rest of it, is because whenever there's, dare I say, turmoil or disturbance, whether that's geopolitical, whether it's financial, Dubai seems to have benefited from that. And as a result, people then come, they come to look. You talked about coming and having a holiday, having a holiday, they look, they like what they see, and then they start to think, could I live here? Or could I invest here? So right now we have this imbalance that despite all these developers, and our heads are spinning with all these developers every 5 minutes launching something. Last night there was Omniat launching Vela on Marassi Canal. And Emar, tomorrow there'll be something else.
Right.
Our heads are definitely spinning. But they're doing that because the demand is there. Population has steadily grown. And you talk about it's actually the 2040 vision that they're working to. They're looking at 5.8 million population by 2040. We're at, I believe, 3.5 million. Listen, it's still not massive. But I learned the other day that Moldova, which is where our, the owner of Axe Capital comes from. I mean, the whole country there is 3.5 million. So, there are even smaller countries. But then you look at London, over 10 million people just in London. So we have some way to go to grow.
But it's not a massive amount of, for Dubai itself.
No, I get that. But when you look at the world is looking at us. So today, yes, we have a lot of people coming from the geopolitical situation in Ukraine and in Russia, for example. And of course, people, they have that flight to safety. And Dubai is that. You mentioned it earlier. It's a very, very safe country. But then you look at Europe. You look at the financial situation of Europe. It's not amazing. The UK, like it or not, Brexit, in my opinion, is a disaster for the UK.
100%.
And so all these things, people are looking at other ways. And as a result, many, many millionaires have come and made Dubai their home. I know that a lot came out of the UK. Some went to Australia, but I think last year alone, there was something like 1,500 registered millionaires or people who are regarded as millionaires came to Dubai. Now, today we have, if you like, the Eastern European market coming to us. Hopefully, God willing, that stops and we get peace and all the rest of it. So what's next? And I can already start to see the Chinese are coming. So there's always something happening in Dubai. And as a result of that, you will see that this momentum will carry on, in my opinion. It may not carry on at the same levels that you quoted earlier on in terms of percentage increases, because it can't. Otherwise we will become literally a city, an emirate, whatever you want to call Dubai, where only the rich and famous can afford. Which there's an argument for that. Monte Carlo, Hong Kong, these kind of places potentially falls under those categories. But Dubai, I think, is also a place for everyone. Not just for the high net worth
I think
individuals.
it's safe to say that will be the ruler's vision, not a place for just the rich, or an inclusive place for
sure,
where everybody can come.
But to sort of wrap up your question, whilst there are still more people intrigued, interested, coming to Dubai and investing in Dubai, whilst there are more of those than there are units for them to take. And of course, it's like water, it finds its level. There are still units that are empty and will be empty for a long time because they're not perceived to be the areas where people want to live in.
Right.
But there is for sure an imbalance right now. And whilst that carries on, the real estate market will carry on. So for the foreseeable future, for sure. So anybody that isn't buying today, in answer to your question, I think will probably be kicking themselves, because if you bought 2 years ago, you've more than doubled your money. More than doubled your money.
Talal Gaf, Ranches Tree, people are they're doubling their money.
Even the rents, like you just answered my question. Actually, I was going to ask you that, like, the rents have increased by 25%, but luxury villas, the big villas, like in Dubai Hills, Palm Jumeirah, that's where like the rents have gone up by like 89%.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
it's gone really, really high.
Yeah, so that was my question. Like, what are the type of people that are coming here in Dubai?
Well, that's a testimony to the either the high net worth individuals that are coming, or these people who are running, successful businesses, or coming to take up expensive positions or positions that pay well. Now, one thing you got to remember, that Dubai is no longer what they call a hardship posting. I mean, I remember when I first came here, hardship posting is when you when somebody is inviting you to come and work in a different country. It's a posting.
Yeah.
And hardship in the sense that it's not the UK, it's not America, it's different. And so they would throw money at you, not just in the salary that they would pay you. They would pay your school fees for your kids. They would pay, so many other benefits.
Got you.
Now, recruiters now, they're still reaching out to people, depending on the sector, but it's no longer what we call a hardship posting. So the actual benefits have reduced down. And so now you might be lucky to get any school fees paid, yet alone all your kids. Obviously, medical insurance is a legal requirement, so things like that are in there. But there are certain things now that were given as normal before, but now either the candidate would have to either ask for them or not. So there's a lot of people coming with high-powered positions, and are either paid very well, or if they're own companies, so they've got the funds. And I guess as the market goes up and it's supply and demand, if you want a 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 bedroom villa on the Palm, and there's only a handful of them, and one is available, and it's a price that is eye-watering, if you're not going to pay it and you're not going to pay it, I will. There's always going to be someone that will pay it. Now, when that stops, that's when obviously the landlords will have to rein it in. Yeah. But don't forget, Dubai has very good rental laws, that are attached to protect, dare I say, rogue landlords from just putting up any price that they want.
Yeah. See, once the bar has kind of been set though at a price, it's very difficult to bring it down, isn't it? Because someone needs to, a seller needs to move in, or they need to sell the property.
Yeah. For sure, those laws are there. But we've had real estate prices go up in rentals and down as well. And you've got to remember that when it goes up, the tenants are just attaching themselves to the rear rental calculator.
Right.
They say, well, the rear rent calculator says you cannot do this, cannot do that. But when the market is declining, as has done in the past, it's funny how tenants don't look at the rear rental calculator at all. They say, but the one next door is for renter X. Unless you drop the price, I'm going to move in next door.
It's whatever's beneficial at the time, obviously, which makes sense. But I mean, following that, obviously, you mentioned that there's a lot of units that are vacant at the moment. Like, I don't want to call out any areas, but let's say Emar South. It's just a little bit far at the moment, right? And there's a lot of high net worth individuals coming here, business owners and stuff like that. So just in terms of investment itself, is this the rise of the townhouse and villa market? Because previously Dubai was, you would buy a studio, you would buy an apartment for investment, you would get a return. And maybe you would buy a townhouse or a villa if you were looking to live. Whereas now you're seeing these massive rents in townhouses and villas, massive appreciation, these communities that you would never even need to leave. If you live there, You know, so I mean, is this the rise of the townhouse and villa for investors?
I guess so. And I suppose it started really when COVID hit us. I mean, none of us have lived through that and probably never will again.
Inshallah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I think back, I used to think, you know, is this like the end of the world? You know, first few weeks, great, I'm at home, you know, I'm with the family, it's great. But, you know, we soon start getting on top of each other. And that's just it. You know, I was in an apartment, but if you were in a villa or a townhouse, you at least had some escapism. You could, you know, and it was around March time, as I recall, March, April. So the weather was good. You could escape out into still your domain, the garden. And so what I'm sure you both found out as well is that people were seeking larger apartments and apartments that had outside space, balconies or bigger terraces. So the townhouse started to come into its own, and people were seeking those. Why? Because they had outside space. Because we didn't know whether COVID was going to come back, and you know, COVID is here. You know, the other day I found out somebody got COVID, and I thought
Mikey has COVID right now.
I hope not.
I hope not.
The taste and the smell was gone, but I think it was a false alarm.
Oh my God. Okay. He says, coughing. So.
But studies have shown what you're saying, that people did, the want for space improved greatly after that.
No, for sure. But it's just opened up that market a little bit more to the fact that actually, look, when people come, they're not sure. Yes, they do end up buying. And if you're sensible, then you should buy. Because if you're going to be here longer than, let's say, 3 or 4 years, then it makes sense to buy, assuming you have enough capital to raise for the deposit. But of course, in that 1, 2, or 3 year period, these families and often individuals come on their own, maybe in the first sort of few weeks to see if they can settle. Then they bring their families over. So the rental market for townhouses and or dare I say bigger villas or more luxurious villas is definitely growing. Whereas before, you're right, it was mainly for people who want to buy them for themselves. But people are discerning. So, you know, they come to Dubai for one reason and one reason only, obviously, and that's to make money. But by the same token, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice. I mean, where I live, I could easily look to move to, dare I say, a cheaper area. But, you know, we're here. My wife says, well, why should we? You know, let's maintain our standards. So it's a trade-off as well. So people do look for that luxury, and obviously a villa and a townhouse will offer that extra dimension plus the extra space in terms of outside, you know? So that's probably why
there's probably a couple of even just smaller factors as well if you've got kids and there's elevators.
Well, of course, and pets. Look, pets now, before, pets were never allowed, you know, really? Especially in apartments.
Is that right? Yeah.
So, but whereas townhouses or houses, you know, that's your own space. You don't have to worry. And so they were always, but now as more and more kind of pets are either coming or being bred, etc., that's another reason why I guess these townhouses and villas are more sought after.
Okay, well, touching on areas a little bit. So one area in particular that I really like is Mohammed bin Rashid City. Now, obviously, you know, if you're more kind of akin to the north of Dubai, the downtown area, Business Bay, Creek Harbour, this is your townhouse and villa community. You know, this is the only thing that's up there. Obviously, the Meydan racecourse is up there. Meydan itself, Azizi have a lot of projects up there. Shover Heartland, Ras Al Khor Wildlife is up there. There's a lot going on up there, right? But one project in particular that's interesting, that's with Axe Capital, is the Keturah Reserve, developed by MAG.
The sales center alone is amazing.
It's incredible.
Alone, you know, the olive trees that are there.
Yes, I mean, some of them are like hundreds of years old.
Hundreds?
Right?
No, they're thousands of years old. Yeah.
But I mean, they've got apartments, townhouses, villas, super luxury mansions, some super luxury mansions. There's something for everybody.
And plots, of course. Yeah.
Plots are there as well. So I guess the number one kind of query with people is it's expensive, right? Now, it's expensive for a reason. The quality is absolutely impeccable. In 10, 20, 30 years, you will see why it was expensive, right? But my question is, a lot of people thought Blue Water was expensive when it was launched, right? They thought this is way overpriced. 2x, 3x now, okay? When this community, when MBR City itself comes to fruition, 10 years, and it's an established villa townhouse community out there by downtown, are people going to say, damn, I missed the boat with the Keturah Reserve?
I think people are saying that kind of everywhere in Dubai, to be very honest with you. I mean, yes, we're highlighting a particular development, and this is a bit of a jewel in the crown of Mag's portfolio or project. And the quality that you mentioned, that you touched upon, is on a different level. I mean, each and every one of these trees, you know, they're older than time itself.
They're
type
amazing.
Of thing.
They're like massive bonsai trees or something.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I haven't seen bonsai ones, but I've certainly seen the olive trees and the cacti. Have you seen the cacti there that's there? Yeah. You know, these would not look out of place in Arizona.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And of course, we're arid here in Dubai, and it's dry, etc. But no, in terms of the actual real estate, yeah, you could bulk at some of the prices, especially of the townhouses. You know, for that kind of money, you could look elsewhere. But you do have to have that vision. And when I think back, if you look at the Springs, for example, I know the Springs is just up the road from where I am, and you know, they were selling for something like 600,000 dirhams, which. Yeah. Now you look 600,000. How many? You know, I'll buy a few. You know, on a credit card.
Give me four of them.
But listen, at the time, it was in the middle of nowhere. It was literally one of Emar's first projects. 4,000 plus villas. So you had to have that vision. Now, literally, you would do anything to kind of live there. Why? Because you're just around the back of JLT, and JLT is on Sheikh Zayed Road, and Sheikh Zayed Road is next to the marina, and the marina is next to the beach, and.
Yeah.
So, frankly, as Dubai does this and grows, and of course it does that as well, because it goes out into the sea, and as we know, it's giving more and more different eye-watering projects that you think, really? But then you think, amazing. So Keturah definitely today might seem, perhaps, for want of a better word, expensive, but then look what you're getting for your money. Look at the quality, look at the size, look at who's going to be living there, you know? And if you add all those things into consideration, actually, I don't think is as expensive as it probably does seem on a dirham price.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And the fact that the owner of Mag himself is going to be building his own mansion there as well is testimony itself. I mean, and it's a bit like when I said to you, I wouldn't ask you to do anything that I wasn't prepared to do. Here is an owner who's prepared to live in an area that his project is selling through companies like us.
Yeah, definitely massive opportunity. Right?
Yeah, but let's zoom out, right? Let's go towards Sheikh Zayed Road. You were just talking about it, right? Now we all know Sheikh Zayed Road connects downtown to Marina. You know, it's like one of the longest roads. It connects all the 7 Emirates.
It connects Dubai to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it does. It actually does. It really does. Yeah. So, you know, like we drive like towards Sheikh Zayed Road. We enter Sheikh Zayed Road. We take the little tunnel. We come in, and boom, we see all these skyscrapers on the left, on the right.
DIFC, right?
Yeah, DIFC, exactly. And then we go down a little more, and then we see downtown. Burj Khalifa, Address Sky View, Dubai Mall. And then we keep going down and then see Business Bay. And after that, we see like nothing. You know, it's like there's like car garages, Wasl Villas on the right. It was empty. The skyscrapers are not there anymore. And then we drive for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And that's when you see the Marina skyline on your right and JLT on your left, obviously.
There's a big gap between
them, there's a big gap. Yeah. But just before
opportunities, Ramak.
But just before that, right? There are like 4 or 5 skyscrapers right next to the MOE. And one of them is the Biltmore residence.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, you know, obviously the design looks amazing. You know, the prices are really good. Again, the post-handover payment plan, that's really good.
5 years, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 years post-handover payment plan.
Well, it's a 5-year payment plan. It's a 4-year post.
4-year post, yeah. It's getting 4-year post-handover payment plan. But my question to you is, like, is it going to be an iconic building, you know, right? You know how like Sheikh Zayed has a lot of iconic buildings. Like, do you think Biltmore residence would be one of them? Like,
I think for sure it's a great investment. First of all, you touched upon it. The pricing, actually, I'm not saying it's cheap, but certainly I think the owners potentially could have gone, you know, even higher. Yeah. But what does that do? It leaves more meat on the bone for the investors. Because now what I'm finding is a lot of these investors, okay, this is a specific building. It's hotel apartments. It's branded. Biltmore is a company that has, I think it's part of Marriott, if I'm right in saying, that has hotels in Tbilisi, Mayfair, and I want to say Miami. I'm not sure where in America, but I want to say
I think
Miami.
it was Los Angeles or
Was
something.
it Los Angeles?
Where the presidents and all used to
Anyway,
live.
I know there's one in America, there's one in
Yeah.
central London and one in Tbilisi, and this is actually their fourth one. So they've picked a building that certainly aesthetically, I mean, from the renders, looks amazing. You know, it really does. And the views are going to be great. Yes, there are buildings either side, but looking down Sheikh Zayed Road, I mean, you can see Burj Al Arab on one side, you can see obviously Burj Khalifa on a clear day, and then the wheel and everything, you know, looking down towards blue waters as well. So views are amazing. The return on investment is amazing because don't forget, with this 60-40 payment plan, you know, an investor will pay 60%, take possession of the property, which incidentally is going to be apparently January 2025. So they don't have to wait too long. And they can start earning the ROI immediately, having only paid 60%. Now, of course, then they've got this, today it's a 4-year payment plan. That could change. But the incentive is if you buy now, it's a 4-year payment plan. So it will be 10% payable every year for 4 years for the remaining 40%. But the ROI will be high at handover. And of course, it will diminish a little bit as you obviously pay a little bit more. But if it's such a high quality, branded, fully furnished, you know, hotel apartments, you know, bringing in a decent return in terms of hotel occupation. Because you've then got to look at where is Dubai going? It's hospitality, it's trade, and it's real estate. And hospitality is visitors and hotels.
Yep.
You know, hopefully, maybe we'll talk later on about Palm Jebel Ali as well, which has got so many more things to offer. But it's the hospitality side. So Biltmore, will it become iconic? Remains to be seen. Will it look the business? In my opinion, for sure, yes. And you're right. It's going to be situated. It is situated diagonally opposite Mall of the Emirates, which is a great mall anyway. It's not the biggest, but it's a very popular mall.
Yeah.
And nearby to some really good schools there. Wellington School is just you know, downstairs. My daughter went there actually, part of the GEMS group. So fantastic. And of course, Sheikh Zayed Road then links up, as you say, Abu Dhabi on one side or downtown Dubai on the other.
Yeah.
You know, and the beach is not far too. So
Yeah. It's a great location. Like, I really love that location. I was telling him also while we were driving down, I'm like, this is going to be the best location for it.
and don't forget, it's around the corner from our new office, which is going to be
Media City.
opening up very, very soon.
Yeah. I want to go to the new office as well. I want to check it out.
I get what you're saying with the iconic though, because although it remains to be seen, I guarantee you one thing: you won't be able to drive down Sheikh Zayed Road without looking at it every time.
For sure, because it looks like two towers,
Yeah,
doesn't
that
it?
can be as iconic.
Although it's one,
Yeah.
it looks like two.
It's like
great.
two, and it's kind of the design. The renders look amazing. It's kind of gold. So in that sense, I'm sure it will be iconic. You know.
Yeah.
So if we head back down to Sheikh Zayed Road, we have one more area, which obviously, as Ronak just described, we'll head down to Sheikh Zayed Road. We see Business Bay. We see downtown. We get to Old Dubai, the Frame. But on the coast, that side, we have Mina Rashid, which is kind of like a harbour area. Full views of downtown, completely undeveloped, sand, easy access, great infrastructure. Obviously, Harbour Lights is out there, the Max project, which has been selling very quickly. Real quick, do you think that this is comparable to Emaar Beachfront without the hype?
It's a different design for sure, but I agree with you in the sense that I mean, yes, there is no hype. It's Dubai Maritime City, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that, well, you've got Omniat who have built a tower there and it stands on its own. They're going to be launching a new tower there, by the way. You've got Emaar who have launched Seascape. No, Rashid. It's called Rashid Ports and Yachts.
Yeah.
They sold out as well. So again, quietly, they're launching and selling out, and it's going to have marinas.
Yeah.
It's right next door to Deira Islands, which is now called Dubai Islands, which is the development by Nakheel. That was the site of where the Palm Deira was going to be.
Is that cancelled, Mario?
Yeah, it's cancelled. It then became Deira Islands, but they changed it. But it's 5 islands. made up again of hospitality. There's going to be a luxury island for mansions. There's an 18-hole golf course. But anyway, all of that area there, so Maritime City and, of course, Dubai Islands, will be a new destination, a new playground, for want of a better word, for high net worth individuals, because people want to live by the water.
The sea is hard to come by these days.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know? And that's why when these developers launch, they sell out. So you're right, blue waters, and especially blue waters, and of course beachfront by Ema. There's a lot of hype there. But equally, because the land that's there, there's only so many plots, and once it's gone, it's gone. Now, unless of course Dubai starts to reclaim more land and create another beachfront somewhere else, which you know can happen. You know, that's why the hype is there. Whereas Maritime City and this area that you're referring to is definitely underdeveloped, but is starting to come. So for sure, I think anybody that wants to maybe buy something with seafronting units will get a little bit more bang for their buck there than, for example, in beachfront.
100%. Yeah. So obviously we had the announcement last week, a small announcement about a small little project
called the Palm Jebel Ali. Yes.
Well, there was a reason why when I joined Axe, right, I said that the area I wanted was XYZ all along the coast, but I insisted that Palm Jebel Ali was going to be part of our area, part of S1's area. Why? Wow. Because I knew that sooner or later Nakheel were going to launch. Now, of course, Nakheel hasn't launched yet. I mean, Sheikh Mohammed has rubber stamped it now. Yeah. Let's not forget, this is a project that was launched in 2002, and then it was mothballed, for want of a better word, in 2008/9 due to the financial crisis.
Reasons,
and really, since then, we've been expecting it to come back, because they spent a lot of time and effort and money in reclaiming it. It's there. When you fly over, you'll see it. There are some parts that need repair, for want of a better word. But anyway, I suspect that come after the summer, I'm going to hazard a guess, around September, October time, we will start to see some announcements from Nakheel to actually start launching some projects, whether they're going to be apartments, whether they're going to be villas, who knows.
I mean, there's 80 hotels plus going there as well, right?
But a couple of things that we need to look at about the differences between the two palms. So obviously Palm Jebel Ali, due to its sheer size, is double the size of Palm Jumeirah. But I went to a steering committee, for want of a better word, for Nakheel, because they were asking certain individuals, how can we improve? What can we do? What did we do right? And what did we do wrong for Palm Jumeirah, so that we can get it right for Palm Jebel Ali? And that was a couple of years ago I attended that. So, I mean, this is a long, drawn-out process. And one of the major differences, for the Palm now, Palm Jumeirah, you have one way in and one way out, correct?
Yeah,
this is
You have the monorail, obviously, but I'm talking about from a car, one in, one out, which is okay. But when you have concerts or when you have any event on the Palm, it's gridlocked. We know that.
Right.
So whereas Palm Jebel Ali will have three.
The crescents are actually
connected.
Correct. So you've got the trunk and the crescents, and they're all. And they say there are 7 connected islands. I mean, they're calling them islands, but at least there'll be more than one in and one out. At least as per what we are seeing. Yeah. Sustainability point of view. 30% of the energy will be renewable energy. There's going to be apparently 35,000 families. Quite how they've worked that one out, I'm not sure. The Palm is big. I suspect there's going to be a lot more than 35,000 there. And you touched upon it earlier, 80 hotels and resorts are going to be earmarked. Now, are they going to do the same as they did with Palm Jumeirah, that the crescent is the hospitality side with a few on the trunk? Remains to be seen. But parking, visitors parking, roads, connectivity, all that will be 100% improved based on Palm Jumeirah. And I remember talking about this to Nakheel and saying that you need to improve specifically parking as well. Otherwise, how can you have a mall or what have you with? I mean, this one obviously Nakheel Mall does have parking, but like even just visitors for these small local shops, it's difficult. If you can't find a space right outside, then where do you park? So they've taken that into consideration, and it's going to be amazing, guys, amazing, and it's a world event. So watch this space.
Yeah, but even the area, the mainland around Palm Jebel Ali is going to become it's going to boom over there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it was called waterfront, either on this side. And in fact, there was going to be another sort of area of reclaimed land. I don't believe that's there anymore. But certainly the waterfront, the base plots, hotels will be built there. I mean, it will regenerate that whole area. If you remember, it was going to be, I'm trying to think exactly what the phrase was, but Nikhil was talking about, was it twice the size or 3 times the size or 10 times the size of Hong Kong? It was something like that. I'd need to check back on the old grey cells, but it was X times the size of Hong Kong, just the Palm Jebel Ali waterfront area. Let's put it that way. So it's a mega project, and one that literally the whole world will be interested in for sure.
Biggest project ever in Dubai.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the new 8th wonder of the world, let's say, because it's dwarfing
the Palm Jumeirah. 9th wonder, won't it?
9th wonder of the world.
We can keep adding for the wonders.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Big anticipation for that. Yeah, big anticipation for that. A couple of wrap-up questions, Mario. So if you could give yourself advice 20 years ago, in real estate or in life, what's something that comes to mind that you would tell yourself?
For sure, be brave and buy real estate. Because look, there were winners and losers from the financial crash in 2008, 9, 10. I mean, I lived it. It was very difficult selling real estate then. I mean, you could, I'm not going to say you couldn't give it away, but you could hardly give it away, because again, people were thinking they want certain price when actually the market had collapsed.
Right.
Dubai on one hand was actually lucky that it was a world financial crisis rather than something that was just happening in Dubai. But definitely, if you have enough money to raise for a deposit, buy real estate. Property. Don't play this stupid stock market with these crypto stuff. I've had so many people, they play, I made $100,000, oh my God, I've lost $200,000.
That's
just save, work hard, save the money, put it in. In the UK, we say bricks and mortar. Here, I guess we say glass and steel. Buy real estate. Because if you buy real estate and hold on to it, if the market goes down, it goes down. Yeah, okay, in paper, the value has gone down. But the value is there only when you come to sell it. And if you can, I'm not saying to time the market because nobody knows how to time the market.
You're not trading, really.
Yeah, but if you know the market is down, you hold it.
Yeah.
If it's not something you're living in or whatever, rent it. And yes, even if the rent is little, at the end of the day, you're getting an income, you're getting something. Yeah. In time, the prices go up. In time, you will get capital appreciation. In the meantime, get return on investment through the rental. I mean, like I say, 2 years ago, COVID. I mean, I remember we had one guy who sold his lakes. He paid $6 million for it. He sold it for $3.8 million. Wow. Right? He made a massive loss. Wow. Now, the same house is $7 million.
It's always
2 years later. I mean,
you will win with property in the long term always.
Correct. Right? And that's the only advice I would have given, myself or anybody else. Continue to buy property where you can, especially where you're living, because then you also have control. Because here are the rents, if they're going up, you're having to dance with your landlord once a year, And if you have a great relationship with your landlord, amazing. And that's what I always advocate. But if you don't, unfortunately, especially when rates are going up, you could find yourself having to move house.
Get on the ladder.
Yeah. And another question I wanted to ask, what is your advice for new agents joining the market? What do you think they should do?
New agents. Do your homework. Don't think that real estate is easy, because it isn't. Real estate is very, very tough. You've got to be resilient. You've literally got to know what you're talking about. But, if people see value in you, they'll use you. All right. Yeah. So from that point of view, learn, read, listen to podcasts. Knowledge is power. I always say that. But believe in what you do. Dubai is, by the way, paved with gold. But the gold is not on top of the pavement. The gold is underneath. You've got to dig. You've got to work hard. You've got to put in the hours. You've got to put in the shift. You've got to be present. Now, when you do all of that, there is an element of luck in everything as well. But you make your own luck. talk to everyone and anyone as well. You never know who you might be talking to.
Yeah.
And again, if that other person sees value in you or engages in you, then yeah, you might not know everything. Nobody knows everything. But at the same time, if you come across in a confident manner and know what you're talking about, then people will use you. And look, success breeds success. And people then will continue to use your services. And if you get good recommendations, like I know you two have had in the past, people will seek you out as well.
Yes.
My last question probably is covered a little bit in what you just said there, but as we mentioned, you're leading sales team 1 at Axe Capital, which obviously we're a part of, but for people that don't know, Mario is responsible for hundreds of millions in sales every month from his team. And some of the guys on the team are, for want of a better word, absolute killers in the real estate market. Very knowledgeable guys, guys with a lot of integrity, very sharp, committed people. Like, what are some of the characteristics that you notice in these people, the guys that perform to that level?
Well, there's one particular chap, and I think you probably know who I'm talking about. And I'm blown away at the humility, the humbleness.
You ever seen anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this guy is probably richer than all of us put together, and yet he has time. And look, time is a commodity that is very precious. I'd like to think it's one of my strengths. I like to give time to my agents, because if they're asking for something, they need it there and then. And sometimes if I'm like here, I'm sure my phone it's on silent, but I'm sure it's ringing. And I can't get hold of those people. And sometimes they find another way. But if you don't call people back, if you don't reach out back to people, sorry, I was in a meeting, can I help you? No, I've sorted it. They will always find a way. They don't wait for you forever.
Right.
But this guy gives time as well. So he will work with anybody. Often he has buyers, sometimes he has sellers. But ironically, somebody asked me today, what his secret to success is. And honestly, I don't have that answer. But isn't it funny how he has one of the most amount of listings. He has one of the most amount of true checks on Beirut. He has one of the most amount of listings where it's verified. So he does what myself and the other management say at our team meetings. Do this, you will get these leads. They think it's just magic in the air that because he's been doing it for a while. So for this guy, I think it's humbleness, that he will give of his time. He will also explain to others who are willing to listen how he works. But he works hard. At the end of the day, it's exactly what I said before.
Yeah.
You work hard, you believe in what you do, you offer good service, good value. And if people see value, again, they'll use you. That's one of my traits. We don't always get it right, and sometimes we make mistakes. But again, be humble, be apologetic. If you've made a mistake, and we all make mistakes, then be able to try and rectify that quickly as well. Exactly. A genuine mistake happens, but we learn from mistakes as well. 100%. So next time, hopefully you won't do it. But it's foolish to think that you can get everything right all the time. And I'm sure he also does the same. But this particular person, I would just say, don't let it get to your head. So to any new agent, I would say, do not let it get to your head. Many times I've had agents sell a property, they've earned a very large commission, and it's gone to their heads. And then they've gone. Yeah. This guy, he has that formula that he will just keep going.
Well, he's an absolute inspiration. And it sounds kind of silly, right? But we obviously know who we're talking about. Sometimes I go into the office and he's in the corner and he's working away. And if I didn't know who he was, I think he was a new starter. Yeah. He's working so hard. Yeah, and you can just see it in him,
Just the other day I saw him at the corner and he was just sitting on his laptop and it's like...
And the door was behind. So you didn't even know he was there.
I just saw him. I'm like, wait, that's him.
Super humble, super hardworking, super consistent, super knowledgeable. And results speak for themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mario, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us, for giving us some in-depth knowledge on the market. And that's been the Real Estate in Mind podcast for Dubai. And tune in next week.
Thank you, Mario.